Yes, yes, yes. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Just reading a quick little comment. Hold on 1 second. All right, all right. Cool, cool. Let's see. Had trouble with the images portion of the HTML. Please do another video when free. Huh. Okay. All right. Kevin, give me 5 minutes. All right. All right. Let's see. What do we got to do here? Welcome. Let's always start with that. Welcome. We're going to do a quick little image tutorial for the HTML series. This one is for one of the subscribers, so we'll try to make it quick, but let's go through it again. Nothing wrong with that. Again, leave something in the comments, and if I'm free, if I have a moment, we can definitely make that happen. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, gonna close this, and let's make sure that we can actually get our studio up and running. 1 second here. Okay. Oh, look at that. That's the video details from actually opening that up. And what we're going to do here, let's just actually minimize that. We'll open up the studio itself. Okay. And let's open up another tab here. All right, great. So it looks like the user had some issues with, possibly maybe they needed to watch the video again. Maybe they just wanted to see it again in practice. So it looks like we can actually go on ahead and make that happen. So I got a Visual Studio up and running. We finished the images, but let's go on. We actually finished the image, the first series of that part. So let's now add an additional file. So this is really more of a bonus. Let's call that bakery.html file. That'll work. And then from there, what we can do is let's go to pexelscom. All right, and again, this is just a site where you can utilize free photos and not have to worry about getting sued or anything like that over, basically just using someone else's images. You just don't want that kind of trouble. Okay. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to look for, let's look for bakery items. Okay, and I believe, I'm not sure, I don't think I have any already, but let's go on ahead and, oh, these look delicious. Let's go with some bread, and we'll save that. YouTube channel, and we are in the YouTube channel images directory. We're gonna name this as My Bakery, and I think that was My Baker, but we can change that. Okay, close that, and let's go back. Let's get 3 other items here. That looks scrumptious, so we're definitely going to use that. And we're basically just picking images. We're going to try to pick 4 images, and we're going to use them based off of how they look, because this looks scrumptious. Give me some milk, and I'm good to go. Okay, and what is that? Images, birds. We're going to add this as, let's go with snack 1, or you know what? Keep it simple. Image 1. But let's give it some relevance. So bakery 1. That'll work. Exit that out. Find another scrumptious looking cupcakes. Again, we're gonna save that bad boy, and we're gonna give that, let's go bakery 2. Good, good, good. We're working with the images here. We're noticing that there is an extension on the image of JPEG. You may notice JPG, or you may notice .png. You may notice a number of different image extensions. So we did go on and save that. Let's get another one. Some bread, another cupcake, one of my weaknesses. So let's go with that. Save that as bakery 3. And let's just go with one more. You can never go wrong with a Cinnabon. So let's do that. Save it. Bakery 4. So we now have 4 images in our actual directory. Let's go back to Studio Code, which is here, and let's slide this over. We don't need this anymore. That's the channel. And we have the bakery.html file. Let's run it with live server. Good. You'll notice the bakery.html is running, and this is just the live server address. And let's close this so we can actually have a little more screen real estate. And we don't need this. This is from the last video series. And in order to get a boilerplate HTML document up and running, we're going to do an exclamation mark, and we're going to hit enter or tab. This is an additional images, additional image page. We'll just call it my bakery. It's not going to look like the best website ever. Absolutely not, because we did not get to the actual HTML portion where we are actually including CSS to jazzify, to make everything look pretty with some very good structure. So again, we are adding bare bones essentials so we can get to that point where we can look at any particular mock-up or outline or web page and try to mirror that so we have the tools first. All right, so let's give this a heading in which we used this before. We're going to use the H1 heading. So H1, enter, and we're going to call this, let's just say, welcome to my bakery. Okay, and I see it here, but I do not see it here. So let's refresh. Let's see what's going on here. Why that didn't make a change when I was done. Let's add a Y just to make sure. Okay, so it looks like we're good. Sometimes the actual extension of live server, sometimes it just has a little hiccup. All right, and so we have our actual heading. It says welcome to my actual bakery, and from there let's go on ahead and add our image. Okay, so the user had some issues, so let's take it slow here. We're going to add the image source. That is key. So here is the actual image element. We are now within the actual source, and for that source, this is pretty much going to be the destination of where you saved the images. So I went to pexelscom. I then saved the actual images within the images directory, and that image directory can be seen here. If I go into images, you'll see bakery 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have my images here. All right, so what I want to do is with that source, I'm going to type in, I want to go to the images directory. Okay, backslash, and look at that. Now I have options to each of the actual images that I want to use. I'm going to start with, I think, bakery 1. And there we go. And it looks like we have a huge, oh, if only I could have that right now, image. Okay, and we're going to give it an alt text for just in case the image does not happen to populate. So let's say it is a nice looking chocolate muffin. All right, and now this is going to be older type of code, which you would see in the field. You are going to bump into it, believe me, depending on where you are in your journey. We would never generally do this when we are creating an actual website. So, but until we get to the CSS portion, we're going to add the actual width of the image directly within the actual element. So let's give it a width of 300. And now the image is much smaller. It defaults to pretty much using a measure of unit called a pixel. So this is 300 pixels wide, and let's make it a little bigger. Let's just go with 400. All right, you know what? Why not? Let's go a little bigger. 500 it is. Final answer. Okay, so now we have our heading, in which we've used that in a number of previous sessions already. We have the actual image that we're going to be using on the bakery site. And now let's go below that, and let's close this again. And I'm going to hit enter over here. And if we wanted to adjust the height, normally we would not do it this way, but we could just type height, also 500. We can do that. Obviously changes the image itself, but we'll leave it as is. We'll just take that out. Now let's go below and add 3 additional images, and hopefully user, you will be able to then take a look at 2 actual image HTML series videos. Okay. And again, if you get stuck on something, feel free, send me an email or go on ahead and leave a comment. Okay. We'll make sure that we can actually, fix you up and make sure that code is working properly. All right, so now let's do another heading. Let's make it an H2, so it's going to be a little smaller than the H1 heading. I did H2 and then I pressed the tab key, or you can press enter. We're just going to make it simple. Let's see, a few, actually let's call it special items, or specials of the day, with 3 exclamation points. And when there's 3 exclamation points, you know it has to be a special. Hands down, that's a rule somewhere. And now we have the H2 heading. We're now going to add, we want these on a dedicated line of itself. We haven't talked about block elements versus inline block elements. But pretty much the difference is there are elements that are block elements, meaning that they actually require to actually have, they dedicate a dedicated line for themselves. So there's nothing to the left of it, there's nothing to the right of it. It's simply they have their own block because they're just that tough. Now the inline blocks is everything else where you're actually typing something in, if you have an image or if you have a a span element, which we have not covered as of yet, but we'll use that later on in the series. But inline elements, they basically they wait in line just as it sounds. They have things to the left of them, they can have elements to the right of them, and of course you can change those entirely, but that is, we'll save that for another part. So for now, let's add the P element, which is a block level element. It has its own dedicated line, and we're going to add 3 images within here. So here's our first image with a new source. We're going to go to the images directory because that's the folder where all of our images are. We're going to use the bakery item number 2. I'm going to just scroll to it, and we'll just call this another image to eat, will be the alt text. And we're going to give it a width because we see it's way too big right now. So let's just give it a width of, let's say 150. And let's see how that looks. That looks scrumptious and small and kind of cute. All right. And to make life a little easier, we're going to select the whole thing. And here we go. And I'm going to copy that bad boy by doing Control C. I believe on a Mac it might be Command C. But if I'm wrong, just leave a comment. And Control V to paste, or Command key if you're on a Mac, Command C, and Command V again to paste. All right, so now we have 3 of the same images. So just like that, we added 1 image, we copied it 2 times. Now we have a total of 3 images, and let's just make them slightly bigger. Why not? Let's go up to 160. 160. Not too much of a difference there, really, but we'll leave it as is. You can adjust the width entirely how you would like. We normally would not adjust them anyways. Here within the actual markup, within the .html file, we would add that within the CSS file, which will be in one of the future videos. Okay, let's change the names of these images. Bakery 2 to Bakery 3. I could have named them Muffin 1, Muffin 2, Muffin 3. And let's change Bakery 2 to Bakery 4. So now we have 4 different images here. And sometimes you may have an image that has a different height in itself. But what we can do, just to make sure they kind of all look the same, let's give them 300 and 300 for their height, because sometimes by default your image might be a little bigger. Let's see, 300. And let's see here, and that was still too a little big. Let's see what we got going on here. I think the image is just too big to actually change. With 500, where are we getting at with 500? That's the first image there, and then below here, 300 by 200, 300 by 400. So sometimes the image just may not be a good image at all. So let's go on ahead. Let's go back. We'll just use the same image. We can use image 1. There we go. That's a little better. And then let's go back down to 200. Sometimes you just get an image that by default it's just not going to sit well with the actual height. But actually, you know what? Let's actually go back. It could have been the actual height. So let's test something here. Okay, I had 2, 3, and 4. It looked crazy, and let's make sure we actually have a height of, let's say, 200. Let's give that to all of them. Okay, so here you have, here we have an error here. We have no double quote. Definitely need to have that. And let's refresh it. That's a little crazy there. So here we have 3 images here. By default, when you end up changing the actual widths of images, sometimes what's going to happen is they're going to get a little pixelated, or they're going to get a little blurry. And that's what we have here. So, and if we just want to make these a little bit smaller just so we can see them all lined up or in line with each other. There we have it. We have a main bakery item. We have our 3 specials of the day. And again, yeah, this is something from the 80s. There's no structure on this. We're just trying to actually put things where they might be, but we would fix this into a more professional looking site once we get to the CSS portions of that. Okay, so again, user, you bumping into any troubles, you let me know. You send me an email. Or leave something in the comment. We do have people checking for those. And of course, what you can also do is always do a search online as well. But 9 times out of 10, I'll be able to help you. Okay. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you can get the updates as to when new material is out. I'm usually posting things on a weekly basis, but you know, with everything that's going on right now, have a little extra special time on my hand, additional time. And that's it for today. Okay, Mr. Stack out.